Wait, I need to.
Welcome, everybody. Today's agenda, first of all, we will talk about the white paper. And we separated the white paper into sections with Çağkan. And in some sections, we will need your help. Çağkan, can you share GitHub screen?
Yes, one moment.
And also, let me introduce you Turgay. Turgay is a friend of mine from university, and we made several great things together. And he is in South Africa right now, and he will be moving to Norway soon. He is a professor in artificial intelligence. Maybe you can say more, Turgay. Are you there?
James, thanks for the introduction. I think you covered everything.
Great.
Welcome.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
So maybe I can take it over from here.
Yeah.
So what we thought we would do is divide the white paper into like high-level sections that we wrote out as these parts. And then beneath that, we said we put a little, we put some tasks inside that, and each task is related to one of the sections. We wanted to write about the solution, the problem, the social aspects of what we're doing, being a little fish, and these are the high-level sections. And we put out some low-level, like actual contents of the white paper. And we already had some task delegation between Jem and myself. And maybe we can get some help from you guys in some of these. And also, if you have any more ideas on what else we should include, we could also use more content on the white paper as well. So this is probably the most important part of the most crucial part of what we should be doing right now. So if we can get the white paper, at least the first draft, in maybe a week or two, that would be pretty good. And, if that's all right. The next thing on our agenda is something called the Platform Design Toolkit. Maybe some of you guys have heard of these guys. These are the token engineering community. So these are this is the main community that is dealing with designing the token economics, and this is how they divide up the entire ecosystem into different fields. So, so as some of you have already known my opinions on how to build token engineering, this is where I'm coming from when I'm talking about it being a very complicated and difficult subject to approach, because it incorporates a lot of different ideas. Of course, there's game theory and economics and behavioral economics and governance and all that, but there's also some really high-level stuff like law and ethics, philosophy. These guys are really diving deep into it, and they got some academic papers and all that. And the first thing that they're suggesting that any token engineering study should do is do this. This is the Platform Design Toolkit. It's not really a crypto related thing only. It is for a lot broader aspect. If you're designing any platform, any business really, you can use this to understand what you're doing a lot better. So what I did is I went into it. I only got through a little bit of it, to be honest. But the entire thing is made up of several canvases that we can fill out to understand what we're doing. And I'd like to show you just a little bit of it, just to give you an idea. And maybe over the next few weeks, I'm going to be delving much deeper into this to understand, and maybe I'll hold some workshops to explain it to all of you, so we can build on this and build something like this in time, of course, because this is very complicated when you look at it from this perspective. But I'd like to show you just a little bit of it to give you an understanding of it, to what it does. And maybe I can share the other screen that's a little better. And I'm going to share with you all the information on this. And feel free to interrupt and ask questions, please, because it's a lot better that way. So this is from the PDF that they shared. And this is just the few steps that when you're doing the platform design thing that you're going through. So the first thing you do is map the ecosystem, is where you think about the actual players and the entities within your ecosystem and what they're doing, and who's providing the supply, who's providing the demand. And next you go into how those, defining the roles between those. The one that I found very interesting was how value is exchanged between those roles. This is especially crucial for tokenomics design, because that is pretty much what we're doing, is designing how value exchanges hands between the different parts of the ecosystem. So donators will be giving money to activists. So that is one method of exchange. And how do we want to incentivize the correct things while we're doing that? And there are a few more canvases that I didn't really go into at this point, but just to give you an idea of what these look like, is pretty much we just go into a Miro board, we put on some ideas, we put a donator here, and then we say donator does this, does that. And once we have this going, we will have a much better understanding of what it is that Littlefish Foundation really wants to become. And I think that is it for me for now. Maybe we thought we could talk about continue the tokenomics discussion that we were having between a few of us on Saturday, and maybe Yoram, you would like to pitch in on the SPO idea that we were talking about.
Yeah, actually, it's Sebastian idea.
Oh, yeah, right.
But I can, Sebastian, if you want to take, I did a Miro design, kind of the process. But we spoke on Saturday a lot about tokenomics and value and all of that. And then Sebastian in the end said, okay, let's simplify it. Let's start with the SPOs. I think is a good idea. Yeah, I mean, it's great what you shared, by the way. I think a lot of work to do there, but it's great. It's great format. Yeah. Sebastian, you want to comment on that, or you want me to about the SPOs?
No, you go ahead if you have the mirror ready.
Yeah, I mean, if we can share, can you share the mirror of that? It's the normal mirror. If you can share your screen and kind of share the flow, and we can discuss that.
I'm trying to find it if somebody has the link.
It's in the normal mirror. Hey, Merve, hey, Jacob.
Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good, welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Jacob. Welcome. Welcome, Merve.
I'm not sure how much I can say with you guys, but I'll listen as much as I can.
Okay.
I can't seem to find
we
it.
didn't do so much.
Wait,
it's our,
wait.
just a second. Share the link.
I will find it also here. Littlefish mirror. I have it. Show the link.
Yeah, okay.
This is
Dimitri
the
asked something. Yeah, let me answer. Dimitri, yes, we will be creating our own token for having it have value, and we are discussing how to do that. We don't want to have a simple token, but a complex one, and we want it to be sustainable for all the times.
Yeah. So after our talk, yeah, you finished, sorry, Jam? Can I go? Or?
Yeah. Okay.
So after our talk on Saturday, I just, it was in my mind, so I said, okay, let's design it, okay, and try to open a conversation about it. So on the right side, we see a Littlefish platform for listed projects, right? So according to what we spoke up to now, the objective of Littlefish is to list tens of thousands projects from the ground, right? And for that, we need to build couple of capabilities, in my view, which is the yellow part, right? So, and this is actually the product of Littlefish, right? So how to onboard projects, how to to value the impact of projects, how to write the expense registration and transparency, report platform, and all of that thing that kind of, this is the product of Littlefish. Oh, good job. Thanks, Daniel. And then we said, okay, on the other side, how can we start financing it? So it can be by SPOs, right? So we have Littlefish SPO, and it can be any other impact SPO, right? So we want reward transfer to Littlefish. A small percentage of this reward transfer will be used for Littlefish operation. Let's say 2%, again, just a number like that. And what they will get back for now, the value they will get back is impact NFT, which detail in how the money was spent and the impact of the money. And they will get a Littlefish token, which we need still to figure out. So I played with a numeric example. If we look on the example, so if we, and it will be actually quite interesting if we think about the token ecosystem, we will go into probably, let's say, I don't know, 20 billion ADA. We are now in 40 billion ADA, but let's say staking 2 billion ADA, and if we put objective that 5% out of that within a few years will come to Littlefish from all the SPO, and then we speak about 4 to 5% rewards. We're speaking about between 80 to 100 million ADAs a year that will go to project, and 2% to basically manage the system. Right, that's kind of the mindset of that. NFT value, we need to discuss it, how we create the value in the NFT. So we spoke about it. It will be impact NFT value, impact valuation already, but also it can have maybe artistic value. It can have a carbon footprint value. It can be many things that we need to discuss. And the initial money, if we can raise initial money also from SPOs, basically for the operation. So if we share with them the vision, it might be an opportunity actually to sell some of the SPOs, give your rewards here in order to create the system, right? So be part of creating the system. And maybe they will get some, on that they will get some, I don't know, governance tokens, or we need to think about it. Again, just it's all just an idea, right? That just they put forward. Yes, sir.
So I think what we, what one thing that needs to be planned on the back end is how we take snapshots of who's staking from which epoch, because I know that this is something that, for example, Meld did, or Genius Yield, and it's an easy way to recognize and to later distribute tokens. But basically, we don't need to issue our own token just yet. We just need to capture the addresses that are staking their ADA and reward them in the future retrospectively. So potentially, we can start talking about Littlefish token already, even though we don't have it. As long
I think it's a great point. Yeah, I think it's a great point. And as Sebastian said, I mean, potentially, if we do it with SPO, we don't actually need the token in the first phase, right? If we're able to convince SPOs to support also the building of that, right? Exactly. So initially, all the money will go into building the platform, and they will get some kind of benefit from that, recognition or part of the governance or of the DAO, or I don't know. We need to think about that. And then
you can do all sorts of things. If we capture that certain address has been staking with us for since this epoch now, for I don't know 50 epochs, whatever, then we can give them a reward NFT. We can give them tokens, whatever. But when we it's just the mechanism of capturing the snapshots of the addresses, that's really important.
I agree. I think what's important here is to understand between the product. What is the product? So the product is really what Littlefish platform and the kind of services we offer with that. And then the second part is the money finance, right? But the platform itself, that's what's interesting as a product, in my view. And then we need to convince SPOs that it's attractive enough to support that. And if you think about it, there's so many SPOs today already do impact, right? But they do impact for NGOs that are not on the blockchain, that doesn't have this transparency, that doesn't have all the tools that we are providing. So there's no reason that Littlefish will become the channel between the SPOs and transferring the money to activities they want to support, right? Plus getting all the value that they get with the transparency, traceability, all of that. So I think it can be quite visible in my view.
If you're targeting, say, 1 billion ADA, you need 16 stake pools that are fully saturated to support that. Now, if it's 2 billion, you need about 32 stake pools. So we're talking about a lot of stake pools here that need to be operated if we're talking about that kind of scale.
For how long a time are you calculating that, Nori?
I'm just taking a fully saturated stake pool is 65 million ADA-ish. I just divided that by 65 million to get the number of stake pools needed. Because
being staked, yeah, right.
Yeah, but initially we need to see how much money we need to phase one, right? For basically building the platform, because there is some good investment needed to build the platform, I assume, and the process and the product. So how much we need for the initial phase. And then, yeah, they have milestones basically, 3 months milestone, 6 months, 9 months, and define how much we want, what's the target, and how much we need for each phase. If it makes sense to everyone, this model, again, just...
Yes, it's reasonable. First, we can create the stake pool that can share the rewards, okay? So the conventional stake pools doesn't share the rewards, you know. So we will have some modifications on the stake pool infrastructure, and we can promote it to other stake pools, and we can reach that values.
Yeah, I think it will be good now to evaluate what we need to develop technology-wise and what's the cost of that. Like if it's 1 million, 500,000, 100,000, I mean, to do kind of for a first version, and then see how much money in stake pool we need for that. And I don't know.
We could start simple and maybe sign up with drip drops and tie that into one stake pool or two that are already running, and then run it that way. So anybody who delegates to those stake pools can get a Littlefish token or whatever. That system already works and tracks wallets and distributes rewards. So it might be good if we want to get started fast to just look at drip drops and leverage existing infrastructure rather than building something from scratch.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Yeah. And here the objective is in 3 years. I mean, we will not get to 2 billion in, I mean, it will take some time, obviously. So.
Nori, could you explain what drip drops is for us?
Let me bring up the website. It's dripdrops.io. And where's the chat for here? That's the website that runs it. And basically, a lot of SPOs are already using drip drops to register a token and their pool, and then anybody who's delegated to that pool can claim the drip drops. And there's a how it works section and a frequently asked question. And this might not be a perfect fit, but there are other systems out there like this that are already created to allow SPOs to airdrop tokens to delegators based on how much they've delegated in a given epoch. But it's probably technology that's either open source and available or something we want to look at building. But if we want to get started soon, I was just pointing out there are already live systems that are doing similar things that we could leverage.
So what do we need to do to get it going?
There should be a registration form of dripdrops.io. If you search it, you can find it, but it's not on their website. You
But it is,
fill the form and your token will be available in dripdrops.
and as Jacob mentioned, we could just capture a snapshot of all the wallets and how much they've delegated every epoch and retroactively reward people once we do have stuff ready. There's nothing stopping us from launching now and allowing people to delegate. And in fact, I think all of the delegation data is on the blockchain. So you might not even need to do a snapshot. It's probably queryable at any time.
Oh, that's even better.
Nori, can we start doing this? Can we have a workshop about it as a technical committee?
Yeah, it might be worth looking into and playing with drip drops and just talking about it on the tech side.
Okay.
Would we want to build something like ISPO dashboard so that people can look up their stake key address and see what allocation they have?
Yes, and they also have to assign the value that they want to share with Littlefish. So normally, they are taking the rewards themselves, but in our case, they will be sharing it with us or with the project that they support.
But is this something we want to do in starting the stake pool, as in allow the user to choose how much they want to donate?
Yes.
Okay. Nori, would you know if this has already been done somewhere?
Sorry, I didn't quite understand that about the donation.
So what Cem is saying is that while delegating their ADA, user can decide how much he wants to, how much of the rewards he wants to delegate towards Littlefish, and how much he wants to keep. Is that a dynamic thing?
That's not possible in the current state of things. The stake pool itself will set a margin, and that margin, it's usually like 5% or something, but for a truly mission-driven thing, it could probably be higher. And that's what's divided out between the stake pool and the delegator.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Another thing that I was thinking is ADA Pools has an extended metadata scheme for stake pools so that you can add stuff like social media stuff and things. One thing that might be really interesting for either Cardano for Climate or Littlefish is to extend that extended metadata and have SDG impact related metadata so stake pools can actually indicate if they are carbon neutral. They can indicate which charities and which SDGs they actually support if they're impact driven. And then they could register that on chain, and then we'll be able to query it out and automatically create dashboards of stake pools that support specific SDGs. I think that would be a really great community thing. And then people can stake to the pools that are supporting the charities that they, or the SDGs that they really want to support.
Yeah, it's also a way, I mean, all these SPO that are already supporting projects, we can upload their projects, right, to Littlefish. So, yeah. I mean, and then they have the projects, so yeah.
The problem right now is that we have to get them to tell us that they're here, or we have to find them. But if we make a metadata extension, they could register it on the chain themselves, and we just query it directly from the blockchain to say which pools support SDG number 13, and it would show up. I think that would be a really powerful social impact feature for the blockchain. Yeah.
Where can we see the sort of format of this metadata? Is that in somewhere in other pools?
The example shows you kind of the format.
Oh, this type of sharing, okay.
And right now it's just URL to icons and logos and location, and then some social media handles, some company information and an about. But since this is just JSON, you can arbitrarily add another field to call like social impact and then have like SDGs or whatever. We'd have to think about the exact JSON format, but if we just start using it and put it out there, people can start to adopt it, and then we can query their metadata directly using a pretty simple script.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Nori, I was about to ask, so where's this metadata used, and how can we use it when we extend it with climate change info and other SDG related info?
Right, so it's used primarily at adapools.org, but also other services that query the blockchain and show SPO data. So one thing we might do to make it more official is get together with Adapools and talk to them about extending their metadata standard, because this is the one everybody uses, to add our impact related fields. And yeah, I just thought about this because my stake pool, one of the guys there is putting forward a proposal to look at the metadata and extended metadata and ensure that the data is actually clean. Because he ran a script to pull all this data recently, and some people are putting an URL where it's supposed to be a business name, and their data is corrupt and their inputs are not very good. So we were going to start a service to notify stake pools that have incorrect metadata. But that made me think maybe we could extend this to the impact space, and because there's so many stake pools now that are supporting different impact initiatives, and we should make that public and known and put it on the chain so anybody can find it. I think that would be the natural extension of these metadata things.
And Nori, is there, I'm just thinking outside of Cardano, in any proof of stake, ecosystem where staking is possible as well, is this metadata, could we turn it into a standard that could be cross-chain?
Possibly. I don't know about other chains and whether they have stake pool metadata at all. They may, but their systems might be completely different. So, but yeah, that's a good question. If they're similar to Cardano and they do metadata like this, then absolutely, it'd be great to have a standard.
But yeah, no, sorry, continue.
I was just thinking that this could potentially allow us to benchmark different blockchains. But I guess it's a long shot, so just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
By the way, we had a call a couple of days ago, Raz and myself, with Blockchain for Good. There's a kind of an organization doing a cross-blockchain good stuff, trying to. But anyway, just trying to take Jacob ID and forward a little bit. But anyway, I think we need to focus now on our ecosystems. Start.
Yoram, did you have a meeting with
Yeah, he
Cardstarter
canceled
today?
I was supposed to have it on 7, but he wrote us an email an hour before. He said it's going crazy with the public sale, and let's if we can delete it in a few days. But basically, they raised the 10 million. They raised everything. They managed to raise everything. And one of my ideas is actually to tell them, why not create a partnership with every company launching on the launchpad will guarantee a small percentage of the, like 1% or whatever, 0.5% of the money they are recruiting into impact, into Littlefish. So that can be an interesting model, or 0.1%, whatever it is. And I saw it happen in startups, technology startups, that you kind of give options. It kind of can be the same. So if they will be agree to that, that will be massive. Because they're going to launch a lot of companies on their launchpad. So kind of, and they can decide. I mean, the company can decide to which project to dedicate it to, and so on, if they want. But let's see. So it didn't happen today. But I have a call with Robert in half an hour. Speak about several things, and one of them is Littlefish, and set up a meeting whenever we are ready. I don't know if you tell me if we want already to try Wednesday or Thursday this week, like availability that Sebastian and Chekan gave me, or you want, or we want to wait a little bit. What's your suggestion? Or let's do it. Let's tell him to. Let's organize a meeting with him.
I think we had like a total of 3 meetings that we were going to set up. Maybe discuss them all and then decide which ones we want to have first and which ones maybe we want to do a little bit later on.
Okay.
I think in that meeting on Saturday that we had, Sebastian, you were talking about a meeting with Daniel, if I recall correctly. And
Daniel?
yes, from Aragon, who was helping you out with the NFT DAO.
No, I said he does workshops on the NFT DAO, and those are
Alright.
free for everyone to this, but no, not a meeting with him.
No, it's just a workshop. Okay, I'm miscalled then. Maybe I'm misremembering, but maybe we were going to set up another meeting. Anyone remember it?
So it's Cardashift and Robert, right? I mean, Cardashift.
Yeah, Robert.
Kind of the initial meeting is about Cardano for climate and how can we collaborate and bring them projects, which Littlefish can be one project, by the way, as well. And then I want to take it also to how can we collaborate with Littlefish specifically.
Yeah,
That's
also we have Gimbal Labs, Melanie will sort it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so James from Gimbal Labs, maybe we can, Melanie
Yes.
can talk a little bit about that, and maybe we can figure out who we want to talk to first.
Kind of listening in. I've lost my internet for a little while, so I'm not quite up to snuff. But who else is in the course? Yoram?
No, I mean, you wanted to, I think one of the things you wanted to organize is a kind of a brainstorming session, I think, with James, if I remember correctly. Or what's
Yeah, I haven't got a reply back from him through Discord. Maybe we can bring that up tomorrow at the during the course.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
But you want it as a call with all the group of tomorrow, or we want a dedicated call for Littlefish?
Dedicated. Oh, well, totally up to you guys. I'm just thinking that if we can bring it up with James when we talk to him tomorrow, it might be might not be good because it's during the course that we're taking, right?
Yeah, it's during the course that is focused on Gimbal Lab token and.
I'll re-message him, and anybody else, please feel free to do that. He's pretty busy, so we'll get his attention sooner or later.
By course, you're referring to Gimbal Labs thing that happens at 5 p.m. UTC, right?
The one we're talking about is the tokenomics behind the Gimbal token. It's a separate course. Yeah.
It's a separate course. They kind of started already, Dimitri, and kind of organized some. He kind of wanted to do a brainstorming sessions with few people.
Okay. I was just confused.
Yeah.
So there are 3 people that we can talk to. The first is someone from Cardstarter. I think we should put that last because that is about, it takes a lot more than the others, maybe. Maybe we can talk to James and Robert first. Since Melanie will be talking to James tomorrow, let's wait for that. And then after that, maybe we can set up a meeting with Robert later on this week, early on next week. Does that sound okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will get Robert availability today and share with you, and we try to arrange for everyone.
And these meetings will mainly be focusing on tokenomics. So anyone who's interested in building out the tokenomics of Littlefish are, of course, free to join. Welcome to join.
Yeah, Robert has a lot of knowledge, so we need to channel his knowledge. So, I mean, you have so much knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to challenge it somehow, to channel it to where we need help.
Do we have any proposal for tokenomics? As in, do we want to make it inflationary, deflationary? What kind of supply, market cap idea?
Yeah, we
Do
don't
we
have
know?
anything yet. Yeah, we are reading the documentation, and it's really engineering system. So we have to engineer the token first of all, and we will decide everything afterwards.
Okay.
So I'd like to share the screen again. So this is a very deep field of understanding. This is people are approaching this as a new academic engineering field, not as a software engineering field where you just build something and then you build on top of it and you can make mistakes, you can correct mistakes. It's more of a field like civil engineering where there are no mistakes, like you can't make any mistakes or people die. So that is the approach that people are taking to token engineering. So what we need to do is get a real deep understanding of what we're doing and how to do it, and at least get into an understanding of a workflow of the steps we need to take to achieve what we want to do. So one of the things that was on my mind was, can we actually launch a token and then build on top of the token with smart contracts as we want to do? So that means, like, do we need to build inside the token itself the functionality that we want? Like, do we need to build inside of it the donation functionality, and everything else? Or can we just launch the token and then build it on top? And would that be okay? Questions like that, I think, are a little unanswered at this point, and we need to get a better grip of these questions before we can start answering questions like, do we want it to be inflationary? Do we want it to be deflationary? And everything else that comes after it.
That's a good point. But also, Chekam, I think, what we could consider, given that our ecosystem is going to be quite, quite complex and quite smart, is that we launch with something like with some token that people can later exchange for the Littlefish token, whether it's some kind of NFT as proof of participation, or if it's a temporary token, that's also an option.
Yeah, Jacob, we can do the token distribution. At least we can have a value, a percentage of the tokens, and we can start distributing it. And we can design the initial token distribution. Çağkan is talking about the exchange of the token. So it can be done anytime. First of all, we can decide what the distribution, what the percentage of the tokens will have. So if you have any ideas about it, and you can share it on Mira board. So we have a token distribution chart there. So if you have anything in mind, please write down there.
Okay.
Right. For now, any ideas on tokenomics should go on the Miro board, where we have a place dedicated to tokenomics. Maybe I can share it. And if we can put such ideas, and I think it is a very good idea to maybe launch a secondary token that we may be able to exchange later on for the real Littlefish token. Things like that, let's put on the mirror board right here in the tokenomics section. So we can really get an idea of all the ideas that we have and decide what path we want to take. And I'll also put the mirror board once again in the chat.
Turgay, it's a new topic, tokenomics. Would you like to involve in engineering of the tokenomics? What's your opinion?
I will be happy to do so, Jim. I will just have a look at the website that has been shared. And I'll be happy to participate in the meetings. Thanks.
Okay, I will add you to technical committee in the Discord channel. So we are talking there.
Okay, thanks.
I think it's always, a challenge. And I think what we need to just embrace is the fact that whatever we design in the first place, in the first iteration, is not going to be right. But it's going to be a start for, improvements and further refinement. So yeah, if you've gotten ideas or you saw something, I think let's exchange it.
Can I share something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not a technical person, so I'm not familiar about the benefits or the types of tokens, but perhaps if the ones who are aware of what are the different types of tokens, what are the advantages of one type over another type, that way we can get an idea of what are the different types, the pros and cons of the different types, and then kind of get a better idea as to how to choose the best for Littlefish.
There are a few resources where we can learn those things. We've shared a few of them within our Discord. I'll put some more of those into the chat. One of them, Yoram is holding up the Token Economy book by Lisa Tan. It is probably the Bible of token engineering at this point. And we're all in the process of reading it, so none of us really know what we're doing at this point. We'll figure it out, hopefully, in time.
Also available for free on GitHub.
All right. Could we also share that link as well, Nori?
Yeah, let me find it.
Do you know, Nori?
I think it's a commercial book, Nori.
The Token Economics?
Yes.
I would like to go back to something that Jacob did, because I'm not sure if iteration works with tokens. I mean, once the token are out there, it's like a living system, right? So you can.
Yeah, I meant only on paper. Just put a proposal of how things would work, and then put it up for discussion and identify the things that are wrong with that. Because I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case with whoever presents the first version, that there's going to be some sort of improvement. I'm talking about theory only before we actually start developing smart contract and building that as a token. Just the design, I mean.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, one idea around that is to find someone that already did launch a token, right? I mean, and kind of have their support. So not Sunday swapped. I'm kidding. No, maybe Cardashift, or I mean, with them we can speak, obviously.
I think with Cardashift, great lesson from Cardashift is the way they executed their flash sale and public sale. That's
Yeah.
I found it very, very well executed.
I'm still curious as to why everyone is getting this token out so quickly. I think like Malatex, I think they've been, giving it out for a couple weeks or month. And SundaeSwap as well. It's over 5 epochs, I think, that they give out their tokens. I mean, it's a bit weird to me that everyone's doing that. Oh, it seems to me at least that way.
I mean, just the beginning, no? There should be many more coming. But I don't know.
Well, is there anyone who participated to Carta Shift ICO process?
I did.
You did. I tried, but I think they don't allow ICO participation from Turkey. So they never send me a notification or anything, although I registered for the ICO.
So I did my KYC and I got 2 emails. First one was said that, the KYC is being processed. And then the second followed that the KYC is successful and I've been verified. Did you get any of those emails?
No, not really. And I was checking through the social media for Turkish participants, and finally they shared that it's not possible to participate from Turkey, at least for how they call it, flash sale, right? Flash, different sale options.
Yeah, I understand.
So it's interesting. I think they gathered a lot of interested people, and they
Thanks,
Peace,
everyone.
guys.
Yeah.
See you.
See you. Bye bye.
Ciao.